There is a story in the Bible about the king of Aram that went to war with the king of Israel. And every time he would make his battle plans, Elijah the prophet would warn the king of Israel, and they would be prepared. Eventually, the king of Aram thought that there was a spy amongst his people, and he asked them, "Which one of you is the spy?" And then they answered him that no one is a spy, but the prophet Elijah can tell even what the king says in his bedroom. So the king decides that he must go and capture Elijah, goes to the town where Elijah stays, Dothan, encircles it. So the morning early, the servant of Elijah went out, saw this army of the king of Aram, knew they weren't prepared at all, and asked the prophet, "What shall we do now?" thinking that this must surely be the end. And then Elijah spoke and said, "Don't be afraid." And then he told the servant, "Open his eyes, Lord, so that he may see." Then the Lord opened the servant's eyes, and he looked and saw the hills full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha.
Look at this picture. Have you ever wondered how it is that you engage with reality? Let's say that the water represents reality. It is real, you can touch it, you can smell it, you can drink it. It is absolutely real. Within the water, there's the reflection of the rest of reality. But when you look at the reflections, you see that they aren't exactly the same as the reality themselves. It is like some is bigger, some is smaller, something is missing, something is changed. The reflection is not the exact mirror of the reality. That is how our perceptions are formed. When you look at the young man painting the canvas, we realize that the canvas represents that the reality on our inside is a reality that we paint, is a reality that we construct. Sometimes we think that we only reflect what is real. No, it's a process where you have agency and actually use the elements from your perception to build a mini world inside your mind. And this is the artist. The artist is representing the human mind, the agency that you have to create a world within yourself. And it is according to that world that you see, make choices, experience. And it is in that world where the difference between Elijah and his servant showed the most. His servant had a world of fear, had a world of uncertainty. But Elijah, he had a world of security because he managed to see what was still hidden for the servant. Think about a person that is colorblind that enters the room. He or she will see the same room, but differently. Not wrong, just less. Not able to see everything. The servant was good at seeing the facts. He saw the army. He saw their situation in Dothan. He saw himself and he saw the prophet. He saw exactly the same facts. The difference lies in what he didn't see. You see, the facts that we see isn't the whole of reality. And that is what Elijah saw. And that is what Elijah prayed, that when you look at the facts surrounding your circumstances, you also manage to see the presence of God. Because it is the presence of God that changes this reality, and it is the presence of God that changes this experience of your reality, and then you can start moving away from just seeing the facts to the new possibilities of seeing the whole reality where God is present in your life. Where you look and what you see determines your attention. That is how you determine what is important and what is not. That is how you determine what I must choose, in what direction must I move, what must I move away from. We can see, looking at life, only seeing the factual side, we have this experience similar to Elijah's servant of fear, because not seeing the spiritual reality means I am alone. I am the only one that must make it through my circumstances. I am the only one that must make my life. I am the only one that I can truly depend on. And then we know that we are not in control of our circumstances as we would like to think. We are not in control of the people around us as we would like to think. And we are not in control of our destiny as we would like to think. And it is at the edge of what we control that we then start to long for, aren't there something more to the facts of my life? Then we start to realize how we actually need this bigger reality, the presence of God. Now, our attention is like when I go to bed, I've got my warm blanket on, the light is dimmed, and there's soft music playing, and everything is just perfect, and then I know I'm going to have a good night's rest. And then there's this mosquito, bzzz, and all of a sudden, this buzzing of the mosquito is taking up all of my attention. I must get it. I put on the light, I get out of the warm bed. I will not go to sleep until I have got it. And that's how fear works. That's when we're on the edge of our experiences. How it just captures it, and then we don't manage to see all the positive, all the good, everything that is on our side, especially then we do not see the bigger reality, the bigger possibilities, when we realize that God is present in our lives. And once we move where we put our attention to the presence of God, we notice something, that His presence is not being passive. His presence is always acting on your behalf.
So how do you engage with this broader spiritual reality? I think we are more like the king of Aram. His officers told him about the broader reality, told him about the spiritual reality and the prophet and God. And he thought he would conquer it by being practical. He thought he would conquer it with his army. He thought he would conquer it with his money. He thought he would conquer it with his power and might. And what a mistake he made. You see, ultimately in our lives, the spiritual reality always wins. So how do we engage the facts of your life? The facts of my situation, the facts of my family, the facts of my work, the facts of what I'm living today. How do I engage it with this bigger spiritual reality that gives meaning in suffering, that gives wisdom in decisions, that gives destiny through love? How do I engage it? Simple. Elijah prayed that his servant might see. Where you see, where you look, your attention grows, and there your life will follow. Open my eyes, Lord, that I may see. Amen.